Hi, second graders. So today we're going to be learning about 3 different movements. So let's go over those first. Our first one is called a translation. That's a big word, so we're going to be calling it a slide. Our second movement is called a rotation, and we're going to call it a turn. And our last movement is called a reflection, and we're going to be calling it a flip. And to help us learn that these different movements, we have 2 helpers. We have a fat cat and a cookie man. So you guys are going to cut these out on the lines, and you can follow along with me with your fat cat and your cookie man to learn about these movements. So I'm going to use the fat cat, but if you want to use the cookie man, you can for this side. So with my fat cat, I'm going to start with him in the box facing this way. And we're going to practice a slide. So we're just going to follow this arrow. And that's a slide. So a slide means that something can go right, it can go left, it can go up, it can go down, but it's not turning and it's not going backwards or anything like that. It's staying facing the same way. Okay, let's go to our next one. This one's called a turn. So we're going to start with our fat cat in our box. And we're actually going to turn around this dot, kind of like a clock. So that's one turn. That's another turn. That's another turn. And anything around this dot is a turn. So it's not going back and forth or up and down like it did with the slide. And it's not going to be backwards in any way. It'll be facing it forward. But it will go around this dot. And that is a turn. Our last one is called a reflection. So start with the box over here. And a reflection is kind of like a mirror. That's why we use the word reflection, because when you look in the mirror, you see a reflection. So it flips the image or the item, so that would be our fat cat, over this line. So it would look like this. And now he's backwards. So once again, there's no turning and there's no sliding. He just ends up being backwards in the end. Okay, so we're going to practice these movements on the other side. So this one says we're going to use the cookie man. And our cookie man starts like this, so we're going to put him just like that. And we're going to think, what movements do I need to use to get to this? So if you remember this arrow, that is showing us that he needs to slide. So that's going to be our first movement. Slide. And then he's not backwards, so it's not going to be a flip. So it's going to be a turn. If I turn it once, he doesn't look quite upside down yet, right? But if I turn it one more, it looks the same. So it's going to be a slide, turn, and then another turn. Slide, turn, turn. Okay, for our next one, we're going to use our fat cat. So we have this arrow again. So if you remember what that is a slide. So I'm going to write down slide right away. But this time, he's not upside down or to the side or anything. He's actually backwards. So if you remember, when he's backwards like that, that means that the cat did a flip. And now we have the same picture. So that means that we are done with that one. And our last one, the cookie man. So it starts like this. We have another one of those arrows. So if you remember what that was, it is a slide. So we know he's going to slide, but this time he's turned and he's flipped. So we have to think about which one we need to do first. If we were to turn him first and then flip him, it's not quite right. So we have to think of the order that we would do that would get it correct. So let's try flipping and then turning. So I have him this way. I flip him. Now he's facing upwards, and then I turn him once, And does that look right? Yeah. So we're gonna go slide, flip, turn. So that one use all three movements. So let's look at this side one more time, look through our different movements. This one I'm gonna show you with actually my eraser so you can see that it works for all sorts of items. So start here for a slide. I can go right, I can go left, I can go up, I can go down. That's a slide. A rotation or a turn, it's going to go around the dot. So anything like this, like a clock, is a turn. And then our last one, the reflection or the flip, is going to mirror over and that way. And you can even do it this way if you wanted to. And over and that way, and then it's backwards when you're done. And those are our three movements.